Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is the show engineered to really cut through all that digital noise and just deliver what you actually need to know. If you've ever felt like you're just drowning in content, scrolling endlessly, always searching for those real nuggets of insight, well, then this deep dive is definitely for you. Today, we're diving headfirst into something that's honestly often overlooked, but our sources suggest it holds, well, immense power. We're talking about the profound impact of microcontent on engaging niche audiences. Yeah, so we're digging into the research for this one. This really fascinating concept kept popping up. Some people are calling it the content paradox. It's this strange idea that to really connect with those super specific high-value audiences, the ones who truly matter for what you're doing, and to actually see, tangible, measurable results, the secret isn't actually more content. The data seems to show it's strategically less. It feels weird, right? Counterintuitive, like trying to solve a huge problem with a tiny little tool. But let's explore why this paradox isn't just some theory. It seems to be a powerful reality.
It absolutely does feel counterintuitive.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so interesting, I think. For so long, the digital mantra has just been content is king, right? And by extension, more content must be better. But the reality is, so many businesses, so many creators, they're really struggling to connect with their specific audiences, even though they're churning out tons of information. And neglecting this precision approach, this strategic minimization, well, it's frankly costing them big time, invaluable ROI, and maybe more importantly, the chance to build those genuine, authentic connections with the people they most want to reach. The sources are pretty clear on this, the volume game. It's often a losing one when you're talking about niche engagement.
Right. So our mission today is basically to peel back the layers on this paradox. We're going to reveal how these tiny, laser-focused pieces of content are becoming, well, arguably the biggest game changer for connecting with niche groups. And crucially, we'll show you how you can actually leverage this exact strategy, not just for likes or shares, but for measurable, like undeniable results that really impact your bottom line. We're talking about real shifts here, not just theory. Okay, so to understand the solution, we first probably need to face the problem head on. Many of us are still pouring resources into, traditional, longer stuff, detailed blog posts, lengthy white papers, those 30-minute explainer videos, maybe even hour-long webinars. And yet, if you're targeting a really hyper-specific audience, you might be looking at your analytics and just scratching your head wondering, why isn't the engagement clicking? So the big question is, why aren't these traditional, longer forms of content always hitting the mark for those niche audiences? What's the fundamental disconnect there?
It really comes down to what we've been calling the long-form disconnect. The basic issue is that traditional sort of comprehensive content, it often overwhelms niche audiences because, frankly, it doesn't respect their core needs or how they consume information. I mean, think about it. A niche audience, by definition, they're highly specialized, right? They're often busy professionals or maybe deeply knowledgeable enthusiasts or people with very, very specific pain points. They just don't have the time or honestly the mental bandwidth to wade through pages of text or sit through a long video if all they need is one very specific answer to one very specific immediate problem. They need precision, and they often need it now. So this disconnect, it really stems from failing to understand their exact pain points and, maybe more importantly, how they prefer to get information to solve those issues. A big piece of content might have the answer buried in there somewhere, but if it takes too much effort to find, it's basically useless to them in that moment.
That makes a whole lot of sense. It's like trying to find one specific spice in a giant supermarket when all you really needed was like a quick delivery of just that one thing. It's not that the store doesn't have it. It's just way too much work to find it. Okay, but let me push back just a little bit here. Isn't there a risk that by constantly serving up these little bite-sized pieces, we might actually, undermine our authority or maybe prevent deeper learning? For the really complex topics, the stuff our audience often really grapples with, how can we possibly distill nuanced info into just a few seconds without, oversimplifying or losing credibility?
That's a really valid point, and it's an important concern. Yeah, it's actually a common misconception about microcontent. The goal isn't to replace the deep learning or the comprehensive resources. Not at all. It's more about enabling it. See, authority in these niche contexts, it often comes from demonstrating consistent, relevant value and, crucially, problem solving, not just from the sheer volume or length of your content. When you consistently deliver highly relevant, easily digestible micro-content, what you're doing is building trust. You're establishing yourself as the go-to source for those immediate answers. And that then creates a pathway, right? An incentive for your audience to actually engage with your longer stuff when they do need that deeper dive. It's like you're earning the right to their attention for the bigger pieces by first proving your value in these smaller, more frequent interactions. Think of it as the entry point, not the whole meal.
I see. Okay, that clarifies it. So it's really about respecting their time, respecting their mental bandwidth, and building that bridge of trust first. Which brings us right to the core of the solution, this brevity paradox, a term we saw popping up in the sources, this idea that less content can actually create deeper connections through really focused, purposeful messaging. So when we talk about microcontent in this context, what are we actually talking about? What defines it beyond just being, well, short?
Right. So microcontent, when it's done effectively, it refers to these small, intensely laser-focused bits of content. They're designed to address just one single point, or answer one specific question, or maybe deliver just a quick burst of value. It's not just short for the sake of being short, It's about being incredibly efficient and really intentional with your message, respecting that limited attention span we all have now. And the real magic, I think, lies in what we're calling the consistent tap strategy. Imagine it like this. Instead of hitting your audience with this overwhelming fire hose of info once in a while, which, let's be honest, can lead to fatigue and just tuning out, microcontent acts more like a consistent, gentle, but still highly impactful tap into your niche's specific pain points and passions. And these taps, they aren't random, they're strategic, they're ongoing, relevant touch points. Each little tap is a small, valuable interaction that, over time builds familiarity, it builds trust, and it really fosters a genuine sense of community. So for instance, we're talking about things like maybe a 15-second video tutorial showing one specific shortcut in some software that your niche audience uses every single day. Or maybe a quick tip graphic that solves an immediate, actionable problem like, 3 ways to optimize your LinkedIn profile for this specific industry niche. It could even be a relatable meme, something that perfectly speaks their unique industry language, those inside jokes, that creates a sense of shared identity, of belonging. Or even just a single question poll on a niche topic. That sparks instant engagement and shows, hey, I'm listening, I value your input. These are really low friction interactions, right? They demand very little from the user, but consistently deliver high perceived value.
I really like that consistent tap strategy analogy. Yeah, instantly makes me think of like the psychology of habit formation. You're basically making your brand or your expertise a consistent, helpful little part of someone's day or week. And these frequent, valuable micro interactions, they're not just fleeting moments then. They actually foster real community. And they build something much more powerful, like unshakable trust, even loyalty. It's like collecting tiny little stones that over time build this incredibly robust wall. And okay, here's where it gets really interesting, because this isn't just about feeling good or building community, is it? This precision approach leads to some seriously tangible returns. Yeah, we're talking about real, measurable results for your business, your brand, whatever your mission is. It's not just about connection, it's about what the sources are highlighting as a significant ROI multiplier. So for anyone listening who's maybe still a little skeptical, who's looking hard at the bottom line, what kind of compelling numbers are we actually seeing when businesses really lean into this micro content approach strategically?
Right. This is where the strategic power of micro content really, really shines. It moves way beyond just engagement metrics into actual financial outcomes. And the numbers are incredibly compelling.
Yeah.
For instance, our sources reveal companies seeing, get this, a remarkable 60% reduced ad spend. Now, that's not magic, right? It's smart strategy. It aligns with how platforms work now and how people behave. When you consistently provide authentic, valuable engagement through micro content, the platform algorithms often reward that. They favor your organic reach because you're getting strong, positive engagement signals, things like shares, saves, longer watch times on short videos. This just amplifies your message because your audience starts doing the work for you, becoming advocates, and naturally reduces the need for splashing out on expensive paid promotion. And it makes any paid ads you do run way more efficient and targeted. You're essentially leveraging earned media, which is powerful. And beyond that, we're seeing about a 3.2 times conversion boost. That's significant. And this is directly linked to those higher conversion rates you get from these pre-qualified, highly engaged audiences you built with microcontent. Because you've consistently tapped into their needs with relevant bite-sized solutions, they've already built trust. They already see you as an authority. So they're already invested in your message, they understand how you can solve their problems, and they're much, much further along the buyer journey when they finally see a call to action. They're not cold leads, they're warm leads, ready to go. And perhaps most powerfully, there's this reported 89% advocacy rate. That's huge. Niche audiences, once you authentically engage them, they become incredibly passionate brand champions, referral sources. This isn't just about likes, it's deeper, it's about identity. When you speak directly to a niche's specific identity and you solve their unique problems, they don't just consume your stuff, they evangelize. They tell their friends, their colleagues, their online groups about you because you've become this valued part of their world.
Wow. Okay, those aren't just impressive numbers in isolation. They really demonstrate a kind of synergistic effect, don't they? It sounds like a compounding foundation for genuinely sustainable, profitable niche marketing.
Yeah.
It's not just a quick win. It feels like building for the long haul, creating this virtuous cycle where engagement fuels advocacy, which then drives organic growth and cuts costs. It's almost like an investment that pays dividends back in multiple ways.
Exactly. Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, these numbers show a really clear data-backed path, a path to truly sustainable, almost exponential growth. They demonstrate that by investing in genuine, precise engagement through microcontent, you're not just like reaching an audience, you're cultivating a loyal, active community that actively contributes to your bottom line and acts as this powerful organic growth engine for you. It's really moving beyond just transactional interactions to build genuine, value-driven relationships that actually last.
Okay, so we get why microcontent is so powerful, and we've seen the pretty incredible quantifiable ROI. So for a lot of listeners right now, the natural next question is going to be, okay, how do we actually do this? How do we build it? For someone who's ready to embrace this, less is more, but with more impact philosophy, what are the practical, actionable steps? How do we actually implement a robust microcontent strategy? What are the key elements we need to really think about to craft this blueprint?
Right. To craft an effective strategy, you really need to focus intently on 3 core pillars. They all work together. The first one, and honestly, arguably the most crucial because it dictates everything else, is audience-first research. And this isn't just, looking at basic demographic. It's almost like becoming an ethnographer for your niche. You absolutely must deeply understand your niche's unique content consumption habits, their specific pain points, yes, but also their aspirations, the particular language they use, and critically, where they spend their time online and how they prefer to interact with content there. We're talking about maybe using social listening tools to monitor conversations happening on niche forums or specific subreddits, maybe private communities. You could run targeted surveys, analyze what your competitors' content seems to be missing or where it's falling short, maybe even interview members of your target niche directly. You need to truly map out their digital journey and their content cravings. This foundational understanding is what ensures every single tap you make is perfectly tuned. Okay, the second pillar is platform agility. It's not enough just to create micro content. You've got to tailor those formats strategically across the different platforms. Think TikTok for those short, punchy, maybe trend-driven discovery moments. Instagram Reels for visually rich, story-based tips. X, Twitter for quick updates, maybe thought leadership threads or real-time conversations. LinkedIn, obviously, for professional insights and industry discussions. You even need to keep an eye on emerging platforms where your niche might be gathering. Each platform has its own kind of native language, right? Its preferred content style, its unique algorithm. The goal here is to meet your audience exactly where they are, but with content that feels natural and compelling in that specific environment. So a 15-second tutorial for TikTok will look and feel very different from a quick tip graphic on Instagram or a text-based insight on X, even if the core message is similar. It's all about optimizing for the context. And finally, the third pillar, which kind of ties it all together efficiently, is content atomization. This is really about maximizing your impact and just being efficient with your time and resources. It's the art and science, really, of transforming one comprehensive, longer piece of content. Maybe that's a detailed blog post you wrote or an in-depth webinar you hosted, an ebook, even an internal research paper. Transforming that into dozens of targeted micro assets. Let me make that more concrete. Okay, imagine you've created, say, an in-depth 30-minute video masterclass on advanced lead generation for SaaS companies. Right.
From that one asset, you could carve out maybe a 15-second TikTok showing one quick, actionable lead gen tip for a specific software they use. A Twitter thread breaking down the 5 biggest myths in B2B lead generation, pulling quotes and stats from your masterclass. An Instagram reel showcasing a quick success story, a case study of a SaaS company in 60 seconds, and maybe a LinkedIn poll asking your audience about their single biggest lead gen challenge, pulling a specific scenario from your deeper content. See, each one is a unique tap derived efficiently from your core expertise, reaching different segments of your niche on the platforms they prefer.
That concept of atomization is so incredibly smart. And frankly, it sounds like a huge relief for anyone feeling just overwhelmed by the content creation treadmill. It means you're working smarter, Definitely not harder, leveraging your foundational knowledge in so many different highly effective ways. But this isn't really a set it and forget it kind of strategy, is it? Sounds like it's much more about sustained growth, continuous refinement. So what are the critical elements for playing the long game here with micro-content? How do we ensure these connections keep deepening and actually flourishing over time?
You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's definitely an ongoing process. Optimization, iteration, deepening that connection, it never really stops. For the long game, there are probably three critical elements that ensure sustained success. First, you absolutely need to rely on analytics as a compass. You have to consistently track engagement metrics specific to your micro-content performance. And this isn't about vanity metrics, like just counting likes. It's about data-driven optimization. Seriously, look at things like completion rates for your short videos, save rates, that's a big signal, share rates, poll participation, click-through rates on any calls to action you include. Even track the volume of direct messages you get. You should be A/B testing different headlines or visual hooks on your micro-content. Don't guess what's working. Let the data guide you on what resonates most, what actually drives genuine engagement, and where you might need to tweak your approach. It's about constant course correction, really. Second, and this is intimately tied to the analytics, you have to actively listen and adapt. Use that audience feedback, both the explicit stuff they tell you and the implicit stuff you see in the data, to continuously refine your micro-content approach and your messaging. This means paying really close attention to the comments section, to your DMs, to poll results, even the subtle cues and engagement patterns. What questions are they asking in the comments that you can maybe turn into your next quick tip video? What industry slang are they using that you should probably incorporate to sound more authentic? Niche audiences are often dynamic, Trends evolve fast, shared language changes. So your micro-content strategy needs to be like an ongoing, responsive conversation with them, not just a monologue you're delivering. Their insights are genuinely invaluable for staying relevant, staying authentic, and frankly, staying ahead of the curve. And finally, just remember that this is the long game. Always keep that in mind. This consistent, precise value you're providing through these frequent micro-interactions. It isn't just for the immediate gains, it's building an unshakable foundation for potential exponential future growth. It's about consistently nurturing that trust and that community, knowing that each small, valuable interaction contributes to a much larger, more robust, and ultimately more loyal connection over time. And this approach also lets you gather incredibly valuable first-party data about your audience's preferences, their behaviors. That makes future content, even future product development, far more informed. So this really raises an important question for you, the listener, to ponder. Are you building your audience and your brand just for today, or are you strategically laying the groundwork now for an exponential tomorrow?
That's a really powerful question to leave people with. Yeah. So, okay, to bring it all back to the essence then, the core takeaway from this deep dive really seems to be the profound, almost undeniable power of precision in content. The philosophy that kind of emerges from our sources feels pretty clear. Start small, think big, win niche. That really encapsulates everything we've talked about, doesn't it? From understanding the paradox right through to seeing that incredible ROI. By truly understanding your audience's exact pain points, their specific needs, and their preferred ways of consuming information, micro-content becomes your ultimate secret weapon. It really does. It lets you build those authentic relationships, cultivate fiercely loyal communities, and drive those measurable, impactful results we talked about. So I guess the final question is, what does this all mean for you and your content strategy moving forward from today?
Well, maybe consider this. How might shifting just 20%, that's only 1/5 of your current content efforts towards this kind of hyper-targeted micro-content, how might that immediately begin to redefine your audience engagement? And importantly, your ROI. Think about the potential there, not just for transforming your metrics on a spreadsheet, but for actually deepening the very nature of your connection with your most valuable audiences, turning them into advocates, people who truly believe in what you do. So what small, precise tap can you make today that will start building that exponential tomorrow?
That's a fantastic challenge, and one that offers immediate, actionable steps people can take. Definitely food for thought as you go forth and create. Thank you so much for joining us on the Deep Dive. We really hope this conversation has given you some powerful new insights and practical strategies to connect deeply and effectively with your niche. Until next time, keep digging for those insights and start tabbing.